President Trump's veto of an Israeli plan to strike Iran's leader, the ongoing manhunt for a Minnesota shooter, and a look at American women who married into UK aristocracy. And today's trivia question, what was the first real-world purchase ever made using Bitcoin? You might know the answer. Maybe you don't. It's Monday, June 16th. This is the Flyover Podcast. Welcome to the Flyover Podcast, taking you above the noise for an unbiased, high-altitude view of today's headlines with daily coverage that's honest and refreshing. Let's cruise the news and land the facts. Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. I am your weekday host, Ayla Brown. I'm not sure where you're listening from, but I am so glad you're here. So grab your coffee, maybe get the kids ready for school if they're still in school, or get ready for those summer camps for them. Let's take off with the biggest headlines of the day. President Trump vetoed an Israeli proposal to assassinate Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, fearing it could escalate the Israel-Iran conflict. On Sunday, he warned Iran of a massive U.S. military response if American interests are attacked, while denying U.S. involvement in Israel's strike that killed 406 in Iran, including 78 civilians. Iran's retaliatory missiles killed 13 in Israel. Despite the violence, President Trump remains hopeful for a peace deal, citing his mediation in India-Pakistan tensions. Next, Trump Media, parent of Truth Social, got SEC approval to resell over 85 million shares, raising $2.3 billion for a Bitcoin treasury. The funds will buy and hold Bitcoin following firms like MicroStrategy and Japan's MetaPlanet. CEO Devin Nunes called Bitcoin the, quote, apex instrument of financial freedom. The move supports the Patriot economy, boosting Truth Social, Truth Plus Streaming, and Truth.fi, a new crypto platform offering EFTs and a digital wallet. The deal includes $1.44 billion in stock and $1 billion in bonds. Senator Elizabeth Warren raised concerns over regulatory oversight. And lastly, between 1870 and 1914, more than 100 wealthy American women married into Britain's cash-strapped aristocracy, bringing new money and new attitudes to old titles. Consuelo Vanderbilt, one of the most iconic dollar princesses, was pushed into marrying the Duke of Marlborough and cried through her wedding, later calling life at Blenheim Palace deeply unhappy. Nancy Astor, the sharp-tongued daughter of a Virginian railway tycoon, made history as the first woman to sit in Parliament, where she famously clashed with Winston Churchill. There are more women and more dramatic stories. You can find these stories and all other headlines talked about in the podcast in today's email edition of The Flyover. Subscribe for free at jointheflyover.com. Here's what's happening in politics today. In Minnesota, 57-year-old Vance Bolter, suspected of killing State Rep Melissa Hortman and her husband and wounding Senator John Hoffman and his wife on Saturday, remain at large. Police detained Bolter's wife and relatives in a vehicle containing weapons, cash, and passports. A command center in Green Isle and searches near Bolter's home yielded no arrest, but a vehicle linked to him was found in Sibley County. Hoffman and his wife are recovering post-surgery. Next, the Trump administration is reportedly considering expanding its travel ban, which currently bars citizens from 12 countries to include 36 additional nations. The June 9th ban, affecting 19 countries with partial restrictions on 7 others, cites high visa overstay rates and weak vetting. A leaked cable suggests the new list targets countries like Belarus, Pakistan, and Russia for partial bans, with others facing full suspensions. And President Trump directed U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement to pause raids on farms, hotels, meatpacking plants, and restaurants, allowing undocumented workers in these industries to remain. The order, issued after President Trump expressed concerns over economic impacts, reverses a May push by aide Stephen Miller for 3,000 daily arrests. Exemptions aim to protect food and hospitality sectors reliant on immigrant labor, though the United Farm Workers Union doubts protections for workers without status, citing ongoing arrests. We're brought to you by Native Path Hydrate. Did you know 75% of Americans just don't drink enough fluid daily? Unlike other drink mixes loaded with sugar or salt, Native Path Hydrate is made with all 9 essential amino acids plus BCAAs for muscle recovery and only 230 milligrams of sodium, which is perfect for daily use. I actually had one right before I got on the microphone right now. It's so good. It's also completely natural, sugar-free, and just 5 calories per serving. Whether it's post-workout, during travel, or just trying to get through a busy day, it's a go-to for hydration without the junk. And with their 365-day money-back guarantee, there's really no risk. Try it for yourself at nativehydrate.com/flyover. That's nativehydrate.com/flyover. Or if it's easier, just click on the link in the description below. Here are some bonus stories just for listeners of the Flyover Podcast. First, Jeff Bezos and fiancée Lauren Sanchez are planning a lavish June wedding in Venice, Italy, but not everybody is celebrating. Locals and activists have launched a No Space for Bezos campaign, fearing the high-profile event will worsen the city's over-tourism crisis. Protesters have promised to blockade canals and wedding venues. Venice's mayor insists the small guest list won't disrupt the city, but critics call the wedding an extreme case of Disney-fication that brings no real benefit to the residents. And just 2 weeks after graduating high school, 18-year-old Brandon Moss has announced his candidacy for mayor of Fairfield, Alabama, becoming the youngest person ever to run for the office. Moss, who starts college this fall, says he's focused on revitalizing local business, cleaning up blighted properties, and improving city finances. His political experience includes youth government roles and internships with school leadership. The election is set for August 26th. And lastly, a new study from Columbia and the University of Chicago finds that eating a full day's serving of fruits and vegetables, about 5 cups, by the way, can improve sleep quality by up to 16%, with effects showing up the same night. The study tracked 34 healthy adults over 201 days using sleep monitors and food logs. Researchers believe the benefit may stem from tryptophan, I think I'm pronouncing that right. It's a compound in produce that helps the body produce melatonin. Even partial servings showed improvements, suggesting small dietary changes can make a noticeable difference. That's your podcast extra roundup. As always, I'm looking forward to giving you more exclusive content in tomorrow's episode. Coming up next, why did moms rake in $10.1 billion more than dads this Mother's Day? And is it because they're the real MVPs of laundry and dishes? We'll find out. In finance, President Trump signed an executive order Friday approving a merger between U.S. Steel and Japan's Nippon Steel. This is a reversal from former President Biden's January block over national security concerns. The deal, finalized with a national security agreement, includes an $11 billion investment by Nippon by 2028, with a $2.4 billion for Pennsylvania's Mon Valley and a new electric arc furnace. President Trump claimed it would create 100,000 jobs. The agreement grants the U.S. a golden share for board control, ensuring American leadership. Anne Wojcicki, co-founder and former CEO of 23andMe, announced Friday she will repurchase substantially all of the company's assets for $305 million through a new entity, Murray Holdings. Wojcicki, who resigned in March of 2025 after 23andMe filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, aims to relaunch the genetic testing firm, which faced a $1.2 billion debt and a 90% stock drop since its 2021 SPAC debut. The deal, backed by a bankruptcy court filing, includes 23andMe's DNA database and health reports, with plans to resume at-home testing by fall of 2025. Critics, though, question data privacy, given past breaches affecting 14 million users. An American spent $10.1 billion more on Mother's Day than Father's Day this year, with $33.5 billion for moms versus $23.4 billion for dads. These numbers come from the National Retail Federation's annual survey. Moms received pricier gifts like jewelry and spa days, while dads got tools and gadgets. A 2024 Pew Research study suggests moms are just valued more for their heavier childcare and household roles, with 80% of mothers handling primary caregiving versus 20% of fathers. Here's just a couple sports headlines for you. NBA superstar Kevin Durant, currently with the Phoenix Suns, has named the San Antonio Spurs, Houston Rockets, and Miami Heat as his top trade destinations this offseason. The 36-year-old is on an expiring $54.7 million contract. Last season, he averaged 26.6 points, 6 rebounds, and 4.2 assists in 62 games, earning his 15th All-Star nod. So we'll see where he ends up. Next, the Colorado Rockies hit a grim milestone, losing 57 of their first 70 games, the worst start since the 1899 Cleveland Spiders. Unlike the Spiders, whose owners deliberately tanked by transferring stars to their St. Louis team, the Rockies' struggles stem from injuries, a weak rotation, and poor hitting. They have a .237 team average. A 5-4 loss to the Pirates on Saturday sealed the mark, with Colorado now 23-47, last in the NL West. Here's what's happening in science and technology. Researchers at RMIT University in Melbourne, Australia, have developed a solar-powered device that extracts moisture from the air and releases it as potable water without electricity. Ideal for arid regions, it could support disaster relief or remote communities, with scaling tests underway. And a Stanford study published in Nature Aging found human aging accelerates at ages 44 and 60, with spikes in age-related conditions like cardiovascular disease and muscle loss. Analyzing blood proteins from 11,000 people, researchers noted lipid metabolism shifts at 44 years old and immune dysregulation at 60 years old, increasing risks by 20 to 30%. Lifestyle factors like diet and exercise can mitigate impacts. You can learn all about these things in today's email edition of The Flyover. Here's what's happening beyond our borders. An iron bridge over the Indrayani River in Maharashtra's Kundamala area, a tourist destination in the Pune district, collapsed Sunday at 3:30 p.m. At least 2 were killed, 32 injured, and 6 in critical condition. Heavy monsoon rains had swollen the river, and around 125 tourists were on the 30-year-old structure when it gave way, plunging many into the currents. Maharashtra's chief minister announced $6,000 compensation per deceased family. Thousands of protesters wielding water pistols and smoke bombs marched through Barcelona on Sunday, chanting, "Your holidays, my misery," demanding caps on mass tourism. In Barcelona, 20,000 rallied against 22 million annual visitors, driving up rents by 70% since 2012. Protesters sprayed tourists with water and blocked hotel entrances, urging a 50% tourism cut. Similar protests have hit Lisbon, reflecting regional frustration. And in Verona, Italy, a man accidentally shattered a $30,000 crystal-covered art chair by Ron Arad at the Palazzo Mayfi Museum while posing for photos with a woman. The pair fled before staff noticed the damage to the piece. Verona police are reviewing the CCTV footage to identify the culprits, with no arrests yet. The museum is assessing repair costs. Up next, a cheetah cub love story that'll melt your heart, plus the unexpected results from our poll. Would you rather give up coffee or your cell phone? The answer might surprise you. Here's a couple stories we just could not leave out. At the Cheetah Rescue and Conservation Center in Somaliland, 2 orphan cheetah cubs named Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce have become inseparable. Rescued from the illegal wildlife trade by the Cheetah Conservation Fund, Taylor, saved in April, weighing just 3 pounds, bonded with Travis, a playful 5-month-old cub from a group of 4 siblings. The duo naps, grooms, and play fights together, with the center calling it a love story unfolding on the savannah. How cute. The Washington Nationals welcome 21-month-old golden retriever Bruce as their bat retriever, making his MLB debut Saturday against the Mets. Bruce, who boasts a perfect retrieving average in 3 AAA Rochester games, was called up after vigorous training. Video of manager Matthew LaCroix sharing the news with Bruce went viral, with fans chanting his name at Nationals Park. By the way, you can see the video of Bruce and the pictures of the adorable cheetahs by going to today's email edition of the Flyover. Here's the results from yesterday's poll. I told you they were a little surprising. Which could you give up for a week, your phone or coffee? 33% said coffee. 26% said I could do both. 25% said phone. And 15% said neither. I'm going to raise my hand. I was one of the people who voted neither. And I feel like that number should be higher. I know most of you are lying, and there is no way you'd be able to give up your phone or coffee for a whole week. But here's the poll question for today. Don't forget, you can vote every single day in the email edition of the Flyover. Do you own any Bitcoin? There's 4 different ways to vote. Yes, no, not yet, but planning to, or I own other crypto. I don't own any Bitcoin or crypto. I really don't understand it. Call me silly, but the answer is going to be a no for me. And speaking of Bitcoin, here's today's trivia question. What was the first real world purchase ever made using Bitcoin? The answer? Ever heard of Bitcoin Pizza Day? Back in 2010, a guy named Laszlo paid 10,000 Bitcoin for 2 large pizzas, about $41 at the time. It was the first real-world purchase made with Bitcoin. Today, that would be worth hundreds of millions. And yep, crypto fans still celebrate it each and every year. I don't get it, but that wraps up today's Flyover podcast. Thank you for spending part of your day with me. I hope you learned something new. And don't forget to share, rate, and leave a 5-star review if you're enjoying this podcast. I'll be back tomorrow with more headlines. And until then, thanks for flying with us.